Hello and welcome to SAAB Fever Episode 2. Today we will be performing an ECU update on my 2002 95 Aero that was kindly donated to me by Andy. Big shout out to Andy for the car. You'll have to forgive the J.J. Abrams inspired lens flare and try to concentrate on the content rather than Star Trek inspired special effects. Today's episode will show the full procedure of updating the Trionic ECU to the latest version. A few years ago when I first got the Tech 2, I know I would have loved a video like this, so I thought some of you may benefit from a video like it. The reason I'm doing this update is because SAAB introduced a special direct ignition cartridge test into the ECU sometime in 2003 or 4, and I want to get an idea of how good the module is in this car. After realising it wouldn't work with the current software, I immediately headed back in the menus to the SPS programming section and requested info from the ECU. My Tech 2 still had info from my other 95, so I selected Continue to ignore the selected info and download new data from the car to the Tech 2. This just contains enough information to help GlobalTIS identify the car correctly. It's been a while since I've done this, and I managed to misunderstand the on-screen messages, and so needed to turn the ignition back to the on position that it was actually in to begin with. Here we are now with the Tech 2 still powered from the car and the serial connection hooked up to my laptop with GlobalTIS already running. I'm going to select the Service Programming System, SPS for short. I don't require any updates, so I'll skip this part. On this screen, we select either pass-through or remote. I'll select remote as I want to download the new ECU software to the Tech 2 and then to the car. It's now read the car's information from the Tech 2 that it downloaded earlier. I misremembered the function of the ECU data button here, so you can just ignore this part. There's no need to change anything on this screen, so we'll just click Next. This part I have no idea about. I think it might be referring to the intake pipe in front of the aircon condenser, but I'm not 100% sure. The early cars shipped with a narrow pipe and it was upgraded to a wider pipe at some point. This car does have the old narrow pipe now, and I plan to upgrade it at some point in the future, so I'll select Modified. There's the button I'm looking for. I find this to be a really handy window. It lists all the software revisions for the onboard system that you're currently updating. If I move the window and resize it a little, you can compare the ECU's current part number to all the updates available and see what each one does. And we can see that the car still has the same software that was loaded on in Trollhättan when it was made. The update I need was released in 2003, but with GlobalTIS you always load the latest version, in this case from 2006. Once you're happy with the changes that you're about to make, you can close that window and press Next. The new software will now be transferred to the Tech 2 over the serial cable, which will take a while but nowhere near as long as actually programming it to the car. Bah, instructions, who needs them? Now, this bit is important. Turn off everything. The radio, the aircon, the internal lights, everything. Ideally, you should connect another battery up to the car to ensure the voltage remains constant. I didn't do that here, but I got lucky. You really should do as I say and not as I do. The Tech 2 will now begin to update the ECU software. Touch nothing, just let it do its job. %10 now, look at it go. I know this isn't exactly thrilling entertainment, dear viewer, but please believe me, this is nail-biting and will do your blood pressure no good at all. If this incredibly boring progress bar fails, you won't have a working car. %40 now. I've deliberately avoided fast forwarding this video to give you an idea of exactly how long you'll be sitting in the car afraid to do anything. I think it's important for you to know that this isn't a quick update. 50%, halfway now. %. This reminds me of that time I bricked the transmission control module in the missus's car. It wasn't long after I got the Tech 2. I tried to do an update on it and yeah. Well, let's just say fun times were had by all that day. %. Still with me? Good. 80%. Imagine how I felt sat in the car all this time. %. Oh, that's about 20 minutes of the dullest, yet simultaneously most frightening moments in recent memory. I really can't state enough how nerve-wracking this is. Now see if the car actually starts. As you can see, it's working. Never mind the airbag light, we'll deal with that in another video. While I've got the laptop out, I thought I'd show you a really handy website that you can check out. I'll put a link in the description, or you can just visit tis2web.service.gm.com. You can enter your VIN number, go through a similar selection screen to GlobalTIS, then press the History button to see a list of all the software updates for your car. Let's go back to the car for a moment though, to see if the new software actually lets me run the ignition cartridge test that caused all of this to happen. Huzzah! Not only does it run, but the direct ignition cartridge passes the test. Stay tuned, dear viewer, for another thrilling episode of SAAB Thief. Nah, seriously though. In the next episode, we'll be fixing the airbag warning, and it should be a lot shorter. As always, thanks for watching.